leaning into your own story, your gym culture, and your social proof. This is something where there's a ton of value in this. In relation to like your own story, I'm not saying this becomes what you market, right? We're not turning the emphasis to your own story, but there's probably a lot of value in if you have some relatability that you can make it known. Something as simple as as an about us section or an about me part of a website done really well, it can add an element of relatability that's going to be really valuable. First, let's talk about the social proof and what we mean by that. Social proof is, we can use a few different terms, testimonials, social proof, reviews. Testimonials even themselves can, come in a few different forms. But when we talk about a testimonial that could be used to have the most impact, really has 4 different parts. We listed them out here. And we also have the Killer Fitness testimonial cheat sheet that can be used along with this. Before the before part of the testimonial, what was the challenge? How is that affecting your life? How did the specific program or solution help? Measurable numbers or results are always valuable. And then how's life different for you now? Those are obviously, very, very important points. But I'm going to actually pause from the slideshow. I'm going to go to something else because we've got a couple of examples here that have been done really well. One example from Pamela McElwee website, Urban Athlete. I'm sure everyone's familiar with Pamela. This testimony right here has all those elements. Don't be concerned if we don't have an individual's photograph. I mean, sure, that'd be helpful, but it's not like we can't use this. This is still done really well. Has all the elements that we talked about it. Before starting, we see that. Before starting, a description of what was going on, how it affected this person's life. We're talking about some specific things about the workout. So, and how do they help? Like specific workout, modifications, 45 minutes. Some of the things that they really enjoyed out of it. It was fun, sense of community. The result, 20 pounds. That's pretty clear. And at the end of the day, what's life like now? I have more energy, mobility. It's truly a transformation, feel stronger and healthier. So it has all 4 elements that we're looking for. One that's done really well. Something that can also be done really well when we talk about testimonials. And again, I mentioned that social proof and testimonials, they can be captured in a few different ways. Review sites, or just more of a simple, shorter review or like praise kind of thing. Those can be very effective as well. However, those are things that you have to nurture and you have to cultivate. They're not going to happen on their own. And there are a lot of sites and a lot of places that those things can be captured. Your Facebook page, Google reviews, Yelp, just to name 3. I mean, there's probably a lot more that could be shown up. But people aren't just going to go and express their happiness on their own on those sites. Not to the degree that is really going to turn into something that you can leverage in your marketing. And I have one more example here with from Breakaway Fitness here. In one section of their website, they have a Google review, Facebook review, Google, a couple that they've probably captured from somewhere from their clients and just using their own website sort of as the source of this testimonial. The point with that is this is something that can be done well, but you, just like your testimonials, you have to be proactive with it. If on your lead tracker in your AAA plan, if testimonials is one of the things that you have in your arsenal, you'll see over here, the action plan, we have, it's sort of like a 2-part, direct ask for testimonial and capture from review sites. So that's something that in this example is meant to be done on a weekly basis. The direct ask, meaning like with one individual, like directly asking for a testimonial. Capturing from review sites, this is something that really, there's probably a little bit of background work that needs to take place. You have to think of when and how am I going to direct people to these different places to leave the review. That's something we could probably, as a specific tactic, we could dive into in another discussion. just understand the main point is it's not going to happen. It's on its own. If you nurture it, if you cultivate it, then it will happen, and you can leverage it in your marketing. Social proof is one of those aspects here that's going to be really valuable moving forward. Marketing your story, your culture, and your community. This is going to continue to be really important. What a lot of our fitness business owners are going to be continuing to compete with, the connected fitness options that are out there now. Peloton, the major player, type of community. Well, it's like, what do people like about your facility and community beyond the exercise program? These are the things that are going to need to be. You've got to be really clear about it. You've got to understand what those things are, so that way you can use them in the way like what you post. Particularly your organic posts, you either say it or you try to show it through imagery. And in some cases, demonstrate some relatable vulnerability from your own story, and what that might look like specifically. Some of you, you're a working parent juggling at home, juggling kids at home. You're trying to do school, just like your clients. You're probably, it might be fair to say that hey, keeping your own health and fitness a priority right now has been a challenge for you as well. Like, it's okay. Just because you're the fitness professional doesn't mean that it's not hard for you to keep it a priority. And also, like, we don't want to be afraid of it, what admitting that to people might mean and how it might look. Social distress and worry and things going on in the world, that doesn't mean that you don't necessarily need to take like strong political stances when it comes to your business, social matters or anything like that. That's still a very personal choice. But what we're saying is it's okay for you to acknowledge those things. And it's okay for you to take a stance if you feel very strongly about it. You shouldn't really, apologize for those things. Yeah, your own health and fitness journey, this is another thing. Again, we go back to relatability and vulnerability. Particularly now, you're going to continue to be competing with online personalities and people that are just really good with their online personality.
Yeah, I would add, I think it's a real gift to people who are craving authenticity right now, for you to offer that in this space at this moment in time, and versus the typical approach of just cheerleading people out of a funk. Is really a gift to meet them where they're at and acknowledge the reality that things may suck right now in certain areas of life, and still there's an opportunity to take control over this one piece of it, and here's an awesome community to support you in doing that.
Yeah, right. And I think it's important to, particularly if we start looking at, this is almost like, I don't want to get too far into understanding your competition and differentiators conversation, but one of the reasons why that is so valuable is for you to understand, why do people really connect with and enjoy some of these other things? What is it about the Peloton community that so many people have been drawn to? A lot of it has to do with the online personalities, right? The instructors, even though they're not talking directly to the individual, they're talking to the masses. There's just something about who they are and the production of it all. There's production value behind it. It's people just they get connected to it. They're drawn to it for some reason. That doesn't mean that you have to be the same way. It's just important to understand that that's part of what's going on there. And then that should help you really think through and understand, answer this question in an authentic way. Like you mentioned, Luke, what is it people that really like about your facility, your community, beyond the exercise program?